everyone. So, welcome to the second game of our rapid slow run, where there's no limit of what we want to achieve or what I want to achieve, but I want to be improving game by game. Right now, I'm thinking it will be difficult for me to analyze the games that I play here with the links, which is a bot that I use on Leeches. But yeah, our streak will be on chess.com. This is Sachacek chess, and yeah, let's go to the game. So we are going to play 15 minutes, 10 seconds increment, so I have no issues finding a game, and hopefully I will have no issues as well with the time pressures. So my main repertoire, I'm posting some short games as well, is going to revolve around e4 as white, and then I'm going to follow some engine lines that Links is recommending. So as white, we will be playing the move bishop c4, and I will always go this modern line. So with d3, the h6 is actually potentially an attacking move from our opponent, from my opponent. If I play d3, they can play knight a5 and already go after the bishop. So maybe I can pretend that I want to play c3 first with the idea of playing d4, but that's not the main idea of mine. So with bishop c5 I can already take on e5, maybe no, because with the Italian they have always this strike on c4. So again, h6 is a move that I don't know anything about, so my ideas will be limited in this game, but for the next game I will come prepared. So one of the ideas here is probably to strike the center with the d4, but I want to see where is this knight going to develop, so I'm going to castle short, as I also didn't want the bishop b4 to happen. And now that the knight is here, they will have no time to capture on e4, and I can simply establish a nice center with d4 and probably push either of those pawns forward. So white, we are white, but black does not seem to have much in this very position. So e5 feels like the move. If d5, then I can take on f6. If taking on c4, then f takes g7 and rook e1 is, I think, very unpleasant for black. So we can push this knight around a little bit. Queen e7 here is not so. I think black is already starting to lose some development advantage, because we castle quick. I've castled quick, and they have underdeveloped. And Queen e7 is usually looking like very slow move. Okay, so I'm thinking d5. And this again is pushing black to the edge, because if they play knight a5, I play bishop d3, my next move is b4, trapping the knight on a5. So most likely white, the black is going to play knight e7. After d5 they will play knight e7, and then I can push the pawn on d6. I need to stop talking in a third person. I'm so used to do that, so it will be a habit that I need to break. We I am releasing this bishop out of its prison, but I'm banking on the fact that black black is going to play knight a5, and now after bishop d3, the b4 is a big threat. Knight to g5 is actually kind of smart move, but after b4 one would almost expect resignation. So the knight hangs, and there isn't much black can do at this stage. So I'm really hoping that I'm going to get a higher rating from what I have registered my account for. And again, this looks like an easy opening win. We punish the h6 nicely, but now actually knight g5 looks very weak as well, because if I take on g5, h takes g5 and queen h5, there's a good chance of winning really quickly. So knight is sacrificing itself on c6, which is fair enough. Fair. And I mean, why not take the knight, right? B takes c6. Now that is an interesting decision. I obviously, if they take with the d pawn and I'm taking on h7, then I can force the trade of the queens and perhaps end the game there. But now my idea could be twofold. One of my main ideas is to play queen e2 e4 or bishop c2 queen d3. And I feel since the bishop a6 wants to be played at some point, then queen e2 might be the better move, since rook e8 could come as a dangerous move. I can also maybe just develop a knight or a bishop. But bishop, I'm expecting eventually will have lots of activity on both g5 and h6. So bishop I don't want to move, and knight c3 does not feel so good on knight doesn't feel so good on c3 or d2 at this point. Maybe actually knight a3 c4 is like the place where I would like to have the knight. So maybe knight d2 c4 would be the way to go. But I'm going to start with queen e2. Just ask some questions, because if some c5 comes, then queen e4 is going to be a really strong threat. So there's a potential of winning more material. Bishop b7 is absolutely a fair move. We can obviously put a bind so the c5 will not be played. But queen e4 actually I think is already starting a problem for black, because if they play g6, now I have the bishop h6 attacking the f8 square, f8 rook. And the knight on h7 is not going to look like a happy bunny. Obviously it's a knight, so no bunny. And there is a potential also for some trades. So this is without question playable. Now what I need to be careful is some sort of issues with f6, f5, d6, d5 moves, where black can use this fact that the queen is pinned, but I have a move that applies more pressure. I'm threatening to take on g6, and I would expect black to just simply retreat the knight to f8. If that's not the move, then bishop g6 is probably crushing through already. So again, from opening point of view, this I don't know obviously how strong my opponent would be, but the opening was handled well. So this should be already crushing. I'm not going to calculate it much. I only calculated little. So if black takes here, attacking my queen, we can already win with a double check. But here, the queen g6 and bishop g7 is checkmate. Queen g7 is a checkmate. King is forced to go to h8. So, oh, bishop g7 actually is not a checkmate. Apologies, because the king will have another escape square here. So the move is queen g7, and we have two games behind our belt and two games that are to win. So e4 is my main move, main repertoire. h6, I don't understand that move, but the c3, as I explained during the game, is aimed against knight a5, so I can go bishop b5, and if attacked again with a6, I can go bishop a4. If attacked with b5, I can go bishop c2, and I keep a pair of bishops, but at the same time it's aimed to quickly gain the advantage in the center. And bishop c5 is probably inaccurate move because it exactly plays into my plan on d4. But I think it was sensible to just castle and wait for where the knight goes. I think if the knight should go to e7 if black wants to castle short, but black probably could have played g5 at some point and try and counterattack on the flank. The issue is that if I play d4, then we have taken over the center. One of the lines that I would be thinking of, let's say they play knight e7 and I play d4. Instead of capturing here, I would just, as black, if I was black, I would just play like this to try and keep the center as close as possible. Because if I take, they just simply recapture, and now black is more or less fine. What I can do is to play f4. You cannot go here and then maybe bishop e3 with the threat of capturing this bishop here. And black might have to play move like knight g6 because pawn c6 doesn't work for simple capture. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Just let me know in the comments if what is your favorite coach on chess.com. I'm looking, and the game review suggests that I had one great move, but I'm not going to use the game review feature just yet. I'm going to start using it once I'm playing one game at a time, because right now I'm pre-recording. So we obviously are enough times protecting this pawn, and as I explained in the game, you don't have time to capture here because you'll be losing the bishop. So no matter where the bishop goes, we're going to start putting pressure on this knight. And as I was explaining in the game, I believe this line is very dangerous for black monarch because we already castled and he didn't. So move like bishop e6 is possible. It actually is not possible because we, again, because of our development, because of this pin, black cannot capture back. because this would not be possible. It's just not possible to break the pin. So you can see how quickly you can go into big trouble. So bishop e6 is not a move. Knight e7 might be potentially the move, but then again, I have seen a move like bishop takes h6. Now this is protected enough times again. We have even moved like queen a4 if we want to be greedy, winning the bishop with winning the pawn with a check. Now black would be able to play bishop e6 after bishop h6, but then again there could be some potential with bishop g5, but it's potentially also dangerous for us. Or move like knight g5 could be really annoying as well. Let's say black plays queen d7. After knight takes e6, you cannot take with the queen again because you'll be losing the queen. So now after queen h5, again the king starts running here, and it's not all it's all about king safety in this game, in this type of game. But black is completely squeezed out. I can play queen f7, protecting the pawn, but also threatening this rook more. And so let's say black wants to connect the rooks, but doesn't have enough time to do so, because now you are hanging this knight if you go here. So it's just too many problems. The rook is very strong here in support with the queen. I don't know what's the material like, but we have a couple of pawns. So this line I don't think would be working as well. And knight h7 is not a bad move, but knight a5 already is, because after bishop d3 is I cannot see how to stop the b4 idea. What can black do is to play knight g5 perhaps. So if I trade the knights and then play b4, then there will be some counter attack like bishop to d4 on the rook here. So knight g5 would be one of the ideas, but I don't want to take here anyway because opening the h file is not recommended. So I'll play just knight to d2 calmly, and potentially and still threatening the b4, but potentially taking here at some point, or maybe even kicking the knight and forcing some sort of trade, because I don't think the knight wants to go back to the prison. So here I'm really struggling to see how to save this knight. Move like c5 might work. That's a move that stops the b4. But let's say we calmly play again move like a3 with the idea of b4. Then black might actually save themselves by in a cost of a pawn by playing c4. But this is high level stuff, and I don't know what type of players I'm playing at the moment to achieve my first rating. So after b4 we win the knight, and after queen e4 you are getting checkmated, so g6 has to be played. If knight g5, we remove the defender of h7, so g6 would still have to be played, so g6 looks like the only move. f5 could be actually the only move in the position. If we take, then knight f6 is a fine defensive move. So here I would have to find something slightly different. So f5 was probably the best move now that I look at this a bit more. But yeah, I can maybe still keep on lots of pressure with a move like bishop to h6, maybe some knight, maybe actually even bishop b2, threatening to take here and go for the attack. But black didn't play the f5 move, and now queen g4 is threatening here this very simple sacrifice. So black probably should play knight f8, and I'm not 100% sure what to do here. can take here, can take there, next. So let's say we will do as we say. But then queen e7 probably protects everything. So it's a little too greedy and a little too not working. And when I have this type of advantage, I don't need to go through all this ordeal. What I can do is just simply play bishop g5. If the queen wants to retreat, that is absolutely fine. But then then I have just bishop h5 or prepare with queen h4. No, bishop f6 actually looks good. And then it's like a slow movement like queen h4, queen h6 will be threatening the checkmate. So it's you have like a bind of this on this position. So this is not what happened. c5 was played. Now we can take on g6. So I took on g6, and there's not much that can be done here. The last line that I was telling you about is if black takes here. This is a very well-known puzzle to me because you are double checking the king. So when the king is in double check, there's no defense, has to move. If it moves on g8, queen g7 is a checkmate. If it moves to h7, queen g7 is a checkmate. And in the game, what happened? Black allows me to checkmate them. Unfortunately, the bishop checkmate doesn't work for this, but it's still totally winning. King has to go here, and the mate is this way. So yes, we saw the mate on g7, and that's the game for today. I hope you will enjoy the game tomorrow, which is a game 3, and I will see you.